Hello everyone, it is our second dual color commander spotlight and we are doing my favorite color combination, Izzet. The commander for this deck, well, the name of the deck is called Ian Likes Your Deck, and the commander is Ian Malcolm, Chaotician. He's a 1 blue and a red legendary creature human scientist. Whenever a player draws their second card each turn, that player exiles the top card of their library. And then, during each player's turn, that player may cast a spell from among the cards they don't own, exiled with Ian Malcolm. Any mana of any type can be spent to cast it. This is my Chaos deck, and what it does is it allows everyone to play everyone else's deck. So the big thing is giving people card draw. Which my favorite card for all my Izzet decks is Fevered Visions. It's 1 blue and a red. At the beginning of each player's end step, that player draws a card. If the player is your opponent and has 4 or more cards in hand, Fevered Visions deals 2 damage to him or her. So they get their second card draw of the turn. If Malcolm is out, that third card gets exiled, and then anyone else can cast it on their turn. This also pings them. It's a very disposable box. This one is confusing, but at the beginning of each player's draw step, that player puts the cards in his or her hand on the bottom of his or her library in any order, then draws that many cards. So it'll help trigger Malcolm. Folio of Fancies, no maximum hand size for all players, and use this to give card draw by paying 2 X and X. Each player draws X cards, and then 2 in the blue. Each opponent puts a number of cards equal to the number of cards in their hands from the top of their library into their graveyard. It's a little mill. Now this is card draw for us. People playing it. Use Fortune's Flame. When it attacks, choose a number between 1 and 5. Flip that many coins. For each flip you win, draw a card. For each flip you lose, deals 2 damage to you. If you win 5 flips this way, you may cast spells from your hand this turn without paying their mana cost. So the rest of the card draw is mostly for me. This one, when it flips, you can target a player to have them draw X cards, which is X number of cards in your hands, allowing opponents to draw. So it's quite a few card draw. Now, Coveted Falcon. This is in here because when it is turned face up, target opponent gains control of any number of target permanents you control. So this came in handy when I was playing against a Deadpool deck, and I just handed the Deadpool text box creature back to them. And also when it attacks, you gain control of permanents you own but don't control. So if someone takes something from you with Malcolm's ability, you attack with this and you get it back. Stormfleet Negotiator. It's got Parlay, Thin Prodder. Reveal the top card of your library. An opponent may have you put that card into your graveyard. If a player does, it deals damage to that player equal to that card's converted mana cost. Otherwise, put it into your hand. Fiery Gambit. This is a Chaos deck, so you flip coins and eventually you might end up drawing cards. This room allows you to exile a top card of your library at your upkeep. You can play that card this turn, and then the Warp Space part, once each turn, you may pay 0 rather than the mana cost for a spell you cast from exile. So since Malcolm allows us to cast things from exile, even from other players' decks, this will allow us to cast them for free. And then Atali. I think everyone knows what Atali does. Nira, when you cast a spell, put it on the bottom of your library. If you do, reveal a card from the top, and to reveal a non-land card, you may cast that card without paying its mana cost. And to Scary Firewalker, which allows us to boast, exile the top of your library. You may play that card this turn. So a lot of card draw, and we have a bit of benefits from the draw. Locust God, when we draw a card, you make an insect token, also pays to draw a card. Psychosis Crawler, whenever you draw a card, each one loses 1 life, and its power and toughness are equal to the number of cards in your hand. Niv Mizzet Perun, when you draw a card, it deals 1 damage to any target, and whenever a player casts an instant or sorcery spell, you draw a card. And then the Fire Mind, when you draw a card, it deals 1 damage to any target, tap it to draw a card. Which leads us to our pingers. Or not pingers, our burn. Mana Clash. You flip a coin with an opponent, and it deals 1 damage to each player whose coin comes up tails. You continue until both players come up heads. And Roiling Vortex. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, Roiling Vortex deals 1 damage to them. Whenever a player casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast that spell, Roiling Vortex deals 5 damage to that player. So, if someone doesn't pay mana to cast a spell, it'll get damage done to them. Now, this deck does have a couple stacks pieces. There's weirding. Players play with their hands revealed. If a player would draw a card, he or she reveals it instead. Then any other player may pay 2. If someone does, it goes into their graveyard. If not, you draw the card. So this is a great way to prevent people from drawing cards. And the main card of the deck, aside from the commander, Possibility Storm. When a player casts a spell from his or her hand, it gets exiled. Then exile cards from the top of his or her library until he or she reveals a card that shares a card type with it. That player may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Then he or she puts all cards exiled with Possibility Storm on the bottom of his or her library in a random order. So this works well with Roiling Vortex because they cast it without paying its mana cost. So they get damaged and then it's going to hurt. There are ways for you, the player of the deck, to see what's on top of your library. Orcish Spy, it's a 1-drop orc for tap. Look at the top 3 cards of target player's library. So you tap it to see what's there, and let's say you have a Soul Ring that you want to cast. But then on top there's a 7-drop artifact. Well, with Possibility Storm, you cast that Soul Ring, Possibility Storm triggers, and you end up with a more expensive artifact for 1. So that's what this is in here for, as well as the Sigiled Starfish. This one allows you to alter the top of your library. Now, what if you don't want to give your opponents that card? Now, what you have is Obstinate Familiar. If you would draw a card, you may skip that draw instead. This also counters a lot of decks that make you draw. We have a Stigma Lashing here to counter the life gain decks. Whenever it deals damage to a player, that player can't gain life till the rest of the game. This one's in here because it's funny. Fickle Ifrit. When it attacks or blocks, flip a coin at end of combat. If you lose the flip, an opponent gains control. I just think that's funny. Fog Bank is in here as a way to protect ourselves, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to and dealt by Fog Bank. So it blocks. It's not necessarily indestructible. It just can't die from combat damage. This deck does have quite a bit of enchantments that we want to keep on the field or make copies of. So we have Estra's Invocation, enters a copy of an enchantment you control, and at the beginning of your upkeep, you may exile this enchantment. If you do, return it to the battlefield. So you can copy Feared Visions, bounce it back up, your upkeep, bring it back down, make it a copy of Possibility Storm, which I wouldn't want to do. Mirror-Mate, another one, but this one also copies artifacts, and not just that you control, so you can copy others. This is the sub-theme of this deck is you copy not just yours, but other players' creatures, artifacts, and enchantments. Cephalid Face Taker makes a copy. On your turn, on your combat, you may have it become a copy of another target creature until end of turn. Waxen Shape Thief enters as a copy of an artifact or creature you control. Renegade Doppelganger. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under you control, you may have it become a copy of that creature until end of turn. So it's temporary. Imposter Mech. I really like Imposter Mech because you can take something from an opponent, make a copy of it. If it's a creature, well, I mean, it has to be a creature. It won't be. It'll become a vehicle, so it makes it more difficult to remove. We got Mirage Mirror. It becomes a copy of target artifact, creature, enchantment, or land until end of turn. So you can copy the strongest thing that is on the field and then change it up. We have Crark's Thumb in here because we do have quite a bit of coin flipping. Jaxis to make copies, and then Crark to copy your instant or sorceries. Again, this deck is all about playing your cards and other people's cards. It's a little chaotic. It's my chaos deck. That's why Ian Malcolm, the Chaotician, is the helm. I will say that when you have Possibility Storm on the field and Nero Wild Mage, things can get a little bit confusing. The way to win with this deck is going to be pinging your opponents. So, or not pinging, burning your opponents through Fevered Visions. And if you copy Fevered Visions with Estra's Invocation and Mirror Maid, that's 3 triggers, pinging your opponents to 0, and that is just chef's kiss. Thank you for watching. We have other videos for Commander Spotlights. Please click the links. If you have any suggestions on what commanders you want to see, post in the comments. And next week, we will be doing the white-green token commander deck. Oh yeah, and of course this deck has some theft. Chaos Wand. Target opponent exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile instant or sorcery card. You may cast that for free. Mind's Dilation. When an opponent casts their first spell each turn, they exile the top card of their library. If it's a non-land card, you may cast it for free. And Wildfire Devils. When it enters and at your upkeep, choose a player at random. That player exiles an instant or sorcery card from their graveyard. Copy that card. You may cast that copy for free. Keep on thieving.